Oh boy, it's a little bit darker out now. The sun is going down, chat. And my microphone is off in Narnia. Oh no, there we go. I hope that's slightly louder. That was a little whoopsie there. I actually ate lunch recently, and that's why it was all the way over there. I had okonomiyaki, and I make it kind of weird. I like to put some cocoa powder in it, and it turns it into like this chocolate, like lettuce pancakey Japanese dish. And it's actually pretty good. I'm not sure everyone likes it, but I find the okonomiyaki sauce goes really well. It adds all the sugary sweetness you would need to not make the cocoa too bitter, which excellent, excellent taste. But yeah, so that was lunch. It was leftovers from yesterday. I made it. I know I shouldn't have the goy slop too often, but still home cooked. Could be worse. The mayonnaise, the Japanese style mayonnaise, has a little bit of soybean oil, so it has a slight amount of goy slop in it, but my body will recover. It'll be okay. Anyways, what to talk about now? So let's talk about motor vehicles, actually. I've never actually owned a car. I never plan to either. I don't like them, don't want them. So in my life, I've kind of structured it in a way where I probably will never need a vehicle. Maybe for like an emergency or something, I might go and get one, but thus far I'm pretty much safe to never actually have to worry about having a car, like having to deal with those expenses. Like, I'll start my autistic rant against cars, actually. So insurance is an actual scam, just like most government fees. It's ungodly expensive, like motor vehicles just in general, especially post the big sneeze, have gone up by a significant amount as well. So you have a really expensive piece of machinery there. And yes, it does provide you with some benefits, right? It gets you from point A to point B faster than your feeties. I like my feeties, but some people might not. Some people are not foot fans, but I am definitely a fan of at least my feet. I don't know about anyone else's, but I'm a big fan of feet. Yeah, and getting around. And so I personally don't need a vehicle in my life. I've structured it such, and maybe that's hurt like my relationship prospects because I refuse to drive a vehicle, but at the same time it's whatever. I'll live. And yeah, so they're loud, they're smelly, they're expensive, and they're, especially where I live up in Appalachia, they're very prone to destruction and just death. Like, they get rust every single year and they require a lot of maintenance work, and like any other machine. Not to mention they're extravagantly dangerous. Like, walking, at least once a day from point A to point B, I think you need like 7,500 steps every day to be maximally healthy. So like walking will prolong your life, whereas, given the amount of car accidents every year, like driving will decrease your total lifespan, and I would argue the quality of your life. Oh, that one's gonna be interesting. All right, so the quality of your life. How does owning a vehicle as a time saver actually decrease the quality of your life? Here we go. So something that's interesting about that is that I enjoy my walks very much. I find them peaceful, the whole touch grass sort of ordeal. The quality of your life will increase if you take walks, just flat out. Like, gives you time to think, gives you time to relax. Like, taking a moment to smell the roses, in a sense, is never bad for anyone. And this whole modern instant gratification, me, now sort of lifestyle most people lead, I think is extravagantly counterproductive, and I don't think it's, fit for mental well-being, just in general. Like, I'm sorry, but if you own a car, you're actually insane. You're probably crazy, not gonna lie. It's certainly not hyperbole or anything like that. But yeah, so, I mean, you can certainly make some arguments for it, like you need to get from point A to point B, but then you run into the same thing like a lot of the environmental chiefs who say, like, I need to have a vehicle, even though it's hurting the environment. Or, for instance, you just look at John Kerry, the so-called energy secretary who jet sets from point A to point B because he's so important. He needs to use something like 400,000 or 500,000 times the carbon everyone else does. Extravagantly important, I guess. Not hypocritical in the least. And like, my carbon footprint is almost nothing. Like, the the UN would love me, dude. Like, the only thing they wouldn't like is the fact that I refuse to eat the corn syrup. But, cue the image meme of the guy holding out against the UN with his corn syrup, or with their corn syrup. I've also messed up on my run energy. Ripperoonies. I thought I would have just enough, but it turns out I did not. I should probably learn exactly what I can get away with here, but it'll come with time. I have 99,000 more of these to use before I get where I'm going. Blech. Here, just slurp it. Drink the corn syrup, the energy potion. Yes, corn syrup. Oh god, the corn syrup. Oh, it's coursing through my veins. I have so much energy. Speaking of having so much energy, though, I just got that into me. Let's burn an incense. Who doesn't like incense, by the way? I always have my daily incense just after lunch in my daily routine. Maybe I'll make a video about routines. I have so many video ideas that I want to do. At least the next couple months will probably be a video a day. Probably. We'll see how that ends up going. You never know, honestly. But yeah. There we go. And so, it's pretty crazy, though, that, like, my interests or my personal desires happen to align with, like, the World Economic Foundation or the global, like, Bilderberg group type peoples and all of the straight-up conspiracy schizos. And at the same time, that a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Like, these people might be wrong about virtually everything, but I think about, like, removing cars from the life of most people, especially the city dwellers. I'm not quite a city dweller. I'm, suburb dweller at best, but still, I think in the future there's probably going to be UBI. I think AI is just going to, like, get rid of the fact most people are going to need jobs, and then most people really aren't going to need a car. Like, maybe if you're an important person who does, like, work and has to get around, you can make the John Kerry argument where I'm so important I need to burn 300,000 times as much carbon as everyone else does, even though it's debatable if humans are having any impact on the environment at all. Oh no, I'm gonna get a little Google banner that says misinformation. Uh-oh, they're gonna get me. They're gonna make me drink the corn syrup. But yeah, who cares what they have to say? I do what I want. That much, I think, should be clear. This might as well be called the I Do Whatever I Want Iron Man series, because I don't really talk that much about RuneScape. You've been spoiled, but this is more just Skitzo rants than anything else, and that's just what I want to do, the content I want to make. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, it's fine. There's infinite content out there for everyone to watch. You'll find something you like. I believe in you. But yeah, so stop driving. Like, get rid of your license. Get it out of your life. You don't need the government regulation. You don't need to get from point A to point B in 15 milliseconds. Walk. Like, it'll help you be less of a consumerist too. Like, maybe I'll make a video about minimalism, but I'm also pretty minimalistic. I virtually don't buy anything. I have exactly what I need. And yeah, I'll purchase, like, groceries and such, but beyond that, if I don't absolutely need something, if it's not going to directly improve the quality of my life, I'm not purchasing it. And that sort of goes hand in hand, because, like, you're not taking free trips to the mall in your vehicle to kill time because you're bored, and your dopamine sensors have been so deprived and so burned out that they basically don't even function anymore. So the only enjoyment you can get is some fake consumerist, like, Valentine's Day, Christmassy, manufactured holiday garbage that you have to shovel down your throat. Oof, that's getting quite schizo. I'm a big fan of that, actually. Quite there on the autism scale. So let's actually talk about that too. I was raised in a way in which I didn't see television, so I didn't get it implanted me into my head very early on that, like, the only way you're going to be happy is if you have this piece of plastic, child. Like, so a lot of children experience that, and they got trained in that, and it's just something that's been, like, stuck through their entire life. And, I just simply don't agree. I think your life's better if it's structured around that, and if any of you people ever become parents, for the love of God, I enjoyed today playing multiplayer RuneScape today. For the love of God, do not inoculate your child into this materialistic mindset where the quality of their life is somehow going to be improved if they have the latest piece of plastic or the latest piece of Chinese leather crafted into their foot sole or whatever. God knows whatever they're tricking the goy to consume in this day and age. Absolutely pure madness. So many things about the world are just, at least to me, pure heckin' madness, and I just cannot understand why in the world things are the way they are. Like, I get why they are, because they benefit a very few select amount of people who happen to have an excessive amount of power, right? You're talking about the big business, all the people, the Coca-Colas of the world that, oh, that's another thing too. If we're talking about goy slop, like, stop drinking hecking seed oils for the love of God. You're literally imbibing the devil's elixir, like some nasty, like, degreaser that for the, aeons has been used to, like, clean engines, and now you're shoveling it down your throat just because some guy who used to sell cocaine as their primary product, I need more energy, as their primary product, has tricked you into slurping it, and no one's bothered to do, well, they've bought and paid for all the research about it and everything else. Like, with all of the stuff that gets regulated by the FDA and all these other people, the fact that Coca-Cola or any of these soft drinks is still something that you can realistically slurp is just beyond me too. Like, they need to get rid of that stuff. It's far more dangerous than, most of the things that are already regulated pretty heavily. And yet, it's not. And just like the, whatever mystery meat that comes out of all of these fast food restaurants, or what most people put on their plate, like these preservative-infilled God knows what else, like slop. Like, I think raw crickets would probably be healthier than what most people heckin' eat today. It's just bleh. But yeah. So, yeah, and I would say that's about the reason you should, no, get rid of your vehicle, dude. Just sell it, throw away your driver's license, get a state-issued ID. You don't need a driver's license. Get rid of it, and just adapt your life in a way that is going to improve the why is this guy walking? Will improve the quality of your life rather than the efficiency of it, or the or increasing, your expediency around, or something like that. Like, sniff the roses for a little bit, my dude. Trust me. Like, if you don't walk currently, at least give it a shot and see. Maybe my life would be better if I didn't own a vehicle. Maybe my life would be better if I stopped, imbibing God knows what out of a, can that's been sitting there for a year in some, like, Chinese sweat swap. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe I don't need a piece of, plastic in the shape of X, Y, and Z. Unless it's an anime girl. If it's in the shape of an anime girl, then it's perfectly fine and natural. In fact, you probably need more of them if you don't have them. But that's the only circumstance where the consume is alright, is if it is a cute anime girl. Like, I have waifu pillows. Not gonna lie, I have my Dakimakars. I have two. One of my waifu Haruisami and one of Megumin. And they tangibly increase the benefit of my life. And I can explain exactly why, but that'd probably be another video. But yeah. Everything you own should have at least some meaning to you and increase your life, and increase your happiness in some way. And the vast majority of, I think, what people own and what they purchase really doesn't. Like, food is good because you need it, so it's not really a question. And, like, having good internet is another, like, requirement. Like, I'm not going to survive if I don't have good internet. Like, I just don't exist without the internet. I might as well not exist. And, like, a lot of people on the internet are excited for the incoming apocalypse that may or may not happen. Who knows if there'll be some society-wide disabling event. One can hope on either end of the issue, but for me, I know that depending on how bad it gets, like, if there's certain qualities that I lose in my life, it's just not worth living anymore. Like, I'm not going to be struggling in some post-apocalyptic Mad Max universe if I can't shitpost on 4chan. Like, there's just no point anymore then. Like, why live, right? And that might be a sad statement for a lot of people, but, at the same time, I view what a lot of people hold near and dear to them as kind of pointless as well, i.e. the plastics that we're talking about are the silly material possessions that have zero impact on your life. So to each their own. At least my things, I can explain why they tangibly benefit from me. So hopefully you can do that for all of your positions. And if not, maybe I'll make a video on minimalism and expand on this argument more. But yeah. But zoom bad. Stop. And then work on becoming no zoom. This was my TED Talk. Industrial society was a mistake. Turn on your in-game music. It'll be better when you're listening to the in-game music. Trust me, you'll vibe. That's all. That is it.